My next guest has been called many things, most of them flattering. He's professor of English literature and poetry at the University of Toronto. He's written several very influential books. He's coined the phrase, the medium is the message, which a lot of people toss around, like myself, and assume they understand, and I'm not sure I do. Would you welcome, please, a prophet of the electronic revolution, Mr. Marshall McLuhan.
Why am I here? It's a question I ask myself daily. Truth is, I like filming myself. It helps me clarify my thinking, bounce things around, listen to myself cogitate out loud. And so, meet Marshall McLuhan, appearing in this second in a series of cinematic sessions, presenting his thoughts and theories. And when I say appearing, hopefully you'll find me endearing and not, well, annealing. Look it up. Oh, I've taken the liberty of scratching down some notes and comments on these paper rectangles. I know some people refer to these as flashcards, but isn't there something faintly lascivious in flashcards? Okay, now for today's sermon from the mouth. Yes. First, I'll be talking about something I know lots about. Self-promotion. Isn't that right, Artie? Oh, this here, Herr Arthur Schopenhauer. German philosopher responsible for that phenological phenomenon, the world as will and representation. It's a thesis characterizing being as deriving from a raw impulse and sheer nominal will. In plain English, reality, inherently without aim or purpose. You know, like conceptual art, Brussels sprouts. Okay, sure, Arthur Schopenhauer. Not exactly a household name. But think of it this way. If they made trading cards for philosophers, well, Artie here would no doubt be an all-star player whose card was a hot-ticket capstone collectible costing long coin. To continue, along with self-promotion, aka public relations, I'll be talking about self-promotion's bastard cousin, fame, ergo, ego. Yours truly explanatorily leaping into fame's bottomless ego pool. And finally, I'll be opining on optimism, which is increasingly nothing more than blatant opportunism. And so, with this trinity, public relations, fame, optimism, I hope to convey something of the fraught age we now inhabit. The electronic age, marked by the computer's dislocating sovereignty. Something that will change everything. Yes, everything. Oh, and please write this down, so that years later, when you look back, you'll remember that Marshall McLuhan said newspapers would be as irrelevant as town criers or medical leech suppliers. You see, your news will come right through your home computer. Zap! Hitting you square between the eyes. Kaboom! What's that, dear? My medicine, yes. Oh, no, I took my medicine already, dear. Thank you. Can't be expected to remember everything, can we? Okay, now, where was I? Yes, public relations. Which brings me to continental movie kitten Gina Lollobrigida. But what in heaven or hell is a Gina Lollobrigida? Well, I do recall reading a quote somewhere by this Lollobrigida saying that she had experience seducing nephews. Well, if such a thing be true, it surely is a Lollobrigida too far. At least for me. Honestly, though, is there any real reason anyone should care about an auburn Italian sex kitten with porcine lips and bovine hips? Seriously, do we only care because of her looks? Or is she the medium of her own message? Then again, celebrity does have its uses. After all, apart from my highfalutin media conceits and culture theories, most of you probably know me from that scene in the Annie Hall movie. You know, where I pop out suddenly from behind a lobby movie poster. This is an officious academic loudly and wrongly expounds on my theories. And I shut him up by declaring that he knows nothing of my work. Okay, sure, that scene was good for a laugh, and it did get my name out there, but honestly, I'm beginning to wonder if it means much of anything, this whole public relations leading to fame rigmarole. It's a loopy, loony, screwy pursuit that turns one into a Gina Lollobrigida. Okay, sure, I may not have had the salacious celluloid imprint of Signorina Gina, but I certainly have been a willing participant in the media orgy. And so the question for me becomes, do I really want to call it ixnay? Do I really want to step off the public relations whirligig after all? I mean, surely I have had some tantalizing coverage. Celebrity, if you will, which sounds oddly like celibacy. It's polar opposite. I've appeared on TV chat shows and radio gabathons, and as a famous so-and-so, met my share of marquee big names. Oh yes, I spent time with John Lennon and Yoko Ono interviewing the Smart Beetle and his conceptual artist sidekick while they lay in bed during a bed-in for peace. This while being recorded all the while by a camera not unlike this one here. Oh, and Timothy Leary. Met him too. Leary, the former Harvard prof turned LSD diva, who was in fact in jail the first time we met. And no, don't worry, we were not jailmates, but rather I came as a visitor to see him. Okay, you're probably thinking, well, surely Marshall McLuhan, that great voyager of the electronic mindscape, has consumed his fair share of lysergic acid dimethylide. Well, the truth is, I have not. But I have read James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake out loud in its entirety, which I was told is like taking LSD, alone, alast, aloft, along, the. And so I think that taking LSD is merely the poor man's way of reading Finnegan's Wake. As to what I told Tim Leary in prison, I said, look, listen up. You can stay way out there on the fringes in the marketplace of ideas, but if your ideas are going to resonate, you need to refine your packaging. And Leary, though Leary, did just that, turning himself into an attractive media package for the electronic age. You need to become a commodity, and an appealing one at that. You see, Leary left jail and went on television, became charismatic, as you might say, smiling that smile while declaring residency on different planes of conscience. You know, that visionary stuff. But as I said, you still have to wonder what all this notoriety gets you. Moreover, do you use being famous for some social good or merely to advance self-interest? Anyway, if you really want people to remember you, borrow money from them. Guaranteed they'll never forget you. Look, does it really matter if 7 million people can identify you on the nightly news, but your own wife hardly recognizes you? Could fame somehow steal the you in you, leaving behind a shell of superficialities in its wake? You know, I once met that fatuously famous darling of the modern art world, the pop art commodity known as Andy Warhol. Honestly, I would sooner be damned to eternal anonymity than assume the vacant fame of Mr. Warhol. In fact, when I met Andrew, I wanted to tell him I wish I'd met him while he was still alive. Oh, and one more thing apropos Andrew. He is said to have said, everyone will be world famous for 15 minutes. Well, he even got that wrong. For in the hyper-driven electronic age, well, even 15 seconds is pushing it. You see, the thing to remember is... What? Doc Mount? Doc Mount called? We called about... Oh, about those tests. Well, what's the rush? Did he say... Well, did he indicate if... Oh. The future sure ain't what it used to be. And comes a phone call and... Look, honestly, I don't need to burden you. I find it awkward, uncomfortable when people tell me. Thing of it is, as you heard, Corin spoke with Dr. Lester Mount at Columbia Presbyterian. He's been looking after me, and it seems there may be a problem with the old ticker. And, a brain tumor too. And not that I'm worried. See, any irregularity could be a X-ray artifact, a systemic quirk. As I say this, I realize that what awaits us all in the computer future is the global village, which, by the way, will be far more tribal than any clan of any cave dwellers anywhere on this planet ever was. Oh, and, by the way, along with antagonistic sects and warring factions, there will be ever more widespread reliance on programmed algorithms determining real decisions, data, dictating if we are okay or not. We charge into tomorrow, staring into the rearview mirror of yesterday. Anxious beats of an irregular heart and misfiring mind, and then one fine day, there it is. Truth. Sudden, exact, painful truth. Your body ain't working the way it should. And so, what is to be done in the face of bleak, murderous truth? Well, there is hope, right? But in the rise and reign of the thinking machine, hope is but a nanosecond piffle. And now, quite possibly an opportunistic con to get to a predetermined result. The outcome angled for. But the thing is, real buoyancy, real equanimity of spirit cannot be programmed. You cannot engineer optimism into a toaster, train circuit boards to sustain a buoyant outlook. For all our better living through science razzmatazz, we still only have ourselves for happiness. Soft, squishy creatures, here for a splat of time and then winking out. But at some point between arrival and departure, you just might find sanctuary. Find, love. Maybe even find a Gino Lolo Brigida. See, the thing is, you might find someone to share your life with. Now that is monumental. Apocalyptic, even. All right, don't get me wrong. The coming computer revolution will be, every book ever written on a contrivance no bigger than your hand. A folding telephone slipped into your pocket, able to ring up Moscow. Mail, electronically delivered by keyboard click. And music, well, every opera, every pop song, every jazz tune, every symphony, every note of every composition ever recorded living on an electronic stick. Miracles all. And if you want to credit me with predicting all this, good and bad, be my guest. Go right ahead. But here, for me, is the most miraculous miracle of all. My wife, Corinne. She is brave when I am frightened, kind when I am cruel, embracing when I am closed, forgiving when I am vindictive. A strong, healthy heart to my vandalized, misfiring one. She sustains me, keeps me ticking, no matter the threat, no matter what time bomb tomorrow lobs my way. Ah, yes, wonderful, dear, wonderful. Well, dinner is served. It had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found somebody who would make me feel true.